The air was heavy. The lights above were cold and white. Dozens of people stood in a dark room, lined up like statues. Their skin was marked with glowing numbers, red and green. Each number was a price. Each person was for sale. Eva stood near the end of the line, her arms around her two small children. Her body shook, but she did not cry. Her tears had already dried weeks ago. She had learned one thing here. Tears changed nothing. This was not Earth. This was Dravenine, a far-off planet where humans were no longer people. Here, they were property. A loud voice echoed across the auction hall. Item 74. Female. Human. Age 27. Strong build. 2 offspring included. Spotlight hit Eva. Her children hid behind her legs. The crowd leaned forward. Hundreds of strange eyes stared at her aliens from across the galaxy. Some looked like reptiles. Others had metal skin. Some just smiled with sharp teeth. Bidding starts at 300 credits. The voice announced. 350. Shouted a tall creature with silver arms. 400, yelled another with green eyes and no mouth. Eva closed her eyes. Each number was a nail in her soul. Each bid meant she would be taken, maybe far away, maybe forever. Her children could be taken from her. Or worse, then someone walked forward. He was human, rare here, tall, quiet, and covered in a dark coat. His name was Kale, but no one in the room knew it yet. He did not shout. He did not raise his hand. He just said, loud and clear, "She's not for sale." The crowd froze. Even the auction master looked confused. "What did you say?" The voice asked again. Kale stepped closer. "This is illegal. Humans can't be sold. There's still a treaty." Someone laughed from the back. "That treaty is dead. Just like Earth." The crowd started to shout. "Throw him out. He's wasting time. Go back to your grave, old man." Kale didn't flinch. He took out a small badge and held it high. It glowed blue, the mark of a galactic war veteran, according to Code 17X. All war veterans may claim protection rights over unarmed humans. The room grew quiet again. People began to whisper. "He's bluffing. That code is ancient. He doesn't even have weapons." But Kale did. He slowly pulled out a small plasma blade from his coat. It buzzed softly in his hand. The auction guard stepped forward, big, armored, and dangerous. Kale looked at Eva. She looked back at him, not sure if he was a savior or just another buyer. Then everything moved fast. The guard raised his blaster. Kale threw a flash grenade. White light exploded in the room. Screams echoed. Shots fired. In the middle of it all, Kale ran toward Eva. "Come with me," he said. Eva hesitated. But then her daughter cried, "Mama." She grabbed both kids and ran with Kale. Down the hallway, past the cages. Past the screams, an alarm rang. Lights turned red. The whole building was chasing them now. Kale kicked open a back door. Outside, the sky was purple and 2 moons shined above. His small ship waited at the edge of a metal landing pad. As they reached the door of the ship, Eva gasped. Why? Why are you helping us?" Kale looked at her, breathing hard. "Because I've seen too many people left behind."
At this time.
They got inside. The ship took off, but just as they reached the stars, Eva touched her stomach. Turned pale. "What is it?" Kale asked. She looked up at him with fear. "They put a tracker inside me," she whispered. "They can follow us." The stars outside the ship looked peaceful, silent, cold, far away. But inside the ship, everything was the opposite. Alarms blinked. Eva held her 2 children close, heart racing, her breath sharp. She sat in a corner, shaking, while the man who saved her, the one who said she's not for sale, sat quietly in the pilot seat. He didn't speak. He just stared ahead, flying the ship fast through deep space. His hands were steady. His face was hard, like stone carved by war. His name was Kale. He had no medals, no banners. Just old scars and cold eyes that had seen too much. Eva wanted to ask who he was, why he saved her, why he risked everything. But before she could say a word, Kale spoke first. "There's a medkit in the back. You're bleeding." Eva looked down. The corner of her dress was torn. Her leg had a deep cut. She hadn't even felt it in the panic. She stood slowly, still holding her children. "Sit them down," Cale said. "They're safe now." Her daughter clung to her side. "Eh?" The boy, younger, just stared at the glowing lights on the ship's walls. He had never seen stars before. Eva moved to the back of the ship. She cleaned the wound. The pain brought her back to reality. Was this real? Had someone really saved her? She returned to the cockpit and sat across from Cale. The silence between them was thick. Finally, she whispered, "They'll find us." Cale didn't turn. "I know. I have a tracker," she said, "inside me. They put it under my skin when they captured me." Cale nodded once, like he expected this. "I can take it out," he said. Eva blinked. "How? I've done it before. You're not the first." Those words shook her. "You've saved others." "Some," Cale replied. "Not all made it." The voice was low, not cold, but tired, like a soldier who had seen too many dead. Eva looked at her children, and back at him. "Why are you doing this?" Cale turned to her. The first time, their eyes met fully. "Because when I fought in the war," he said, "we thought we were saving the galaxy. But now, humans are being sold like animals. That's not the galaxy I fought for." Eva didn't know what to say. No one had ever spoken like this to her before, not since Earth fell. Cale stood up and pulled open a drawer. Inside was a small scanning device. "We'll land soon," he said. "I know a place, old friend. Safe for now. Will he help us?" Cale corrected. "And yes, she owes me a favor." As the ship jumped through hyperspace, Eva looked out the window. The stars stretched into lines, like the universe was bending. It felt like time was running fast and wild. Then a sound rang across the ship. Ping, ping, ping. Cale checked the radar. His face grew tense. They found us. 3 red dots were chasing them, fast. No delay. Bounty hunters. Cale sat back down. "Hold on." He turned the ship hard to the left. The engine screamed. Eva grabbed her children tightly. A warning flashed on the screen. Missile lock detected. Cale pressed a button. Flares launched from the ship's back. The first missile missed. The second one didn't. Boom. The ship shook. Sparks flew from the control panel. Smoke filled the cabin. Eva screamed. The children cried. Cale fought the controls. The hands moved fast, but calm. "Emergency landing," he shouted. "There's a moon nearby. We'll make it." The ship dropped fast. Fire burned along its side. Metal tore. Wind roared. Then silence. They crashed. Dust filled the air. Everything went dark. A moment passed. Eva coughed, her head bleeding slightly. Cale pulled her up. "You okay?" She nodded. "The kids. They're breathing." Cale looked out the broken window. The moon was red, rocky, and empty. But there was one hope, an old outpost far in the distance. "We walk," Cale said, "before they land." Eva looked at him. "You still want to help?" Cale turned to her, and for the first time a small fire lit in his eyes. "I didn't save you to give up now." The sky above the red moon was silent. The ground beneath their feet was alive with fear. Eva held her daughter in one arm and gripped her son's hand tightly with the other. Behind her, Cale walked with a limp, smoke still rising from his torn jacket. The crash had damaged the ship and nearly killed them all, but they were alive. For now, far behind them, in the sky, a tiny black dot grew larger. "They're coming," Cale said, eyes locked on the sky. "We don't have much time. Where are we going?" Eva asked. Cale pointed toward a rocky hill in the distance. "There's an old mining station there, abandoned. I used to hide weapons there during the war." Eva looked down at her children. Their clothes were dirty, faces pale. They hadn't eaten since yesterday. They didn't complain, but she could feel their pain in the way they moved. Still, they kept walking. Every few minutes, Cale stopped and listened. He could hear it, the soft hum of engines in the sky. "They'll scan for heat," he said. "We have to stay near the rocks. No open ground." As they moved, Eva asked the question burning inside her. Why do they want the children? Kale's face grew dark. Because they're different, not fully human. That makes them ... rare, and rare means profit. Eva nodded slowly. She knew this. She had lived it. I didn't choose their father, she said softly. He was one of them. I just wanted to survive. Kale didn't judge her. He only said, no child deserves to be treated like a product. Not yours, not anyone's. A loud sound broke the moment, a distant explosion. They turned. Ship was landing behind them, black and sharp like a hunting knife. 3 shadows jumped out. Bounty hunters. Run, Kale shouted. They ran up the hill. Eva slipped. Kale caught her. The children cried but kept going. The wind burned their faces at the top of the hill. The old station came into view, metal rusted, half buried in red sand. Kale rushed to the door. It was sealed tight. Move back, he said. He took out a small device and placed it on the door. It beeped once, then exploded with a small flash. The door creaked open. In, he shouted. They ran inside. Kale sealed the door behind them. The room was dark, smelled of oil and dust. Long dead machines lined the walls. A single emergency light blinked weakly. This place is no good, Eva whispered. It doesn't have to be good, Kale said. Just hidden. He walked over to an old table and opened a box. Inside, tools, old food packs, and a small scanner. He turned to Eva. Let's find that tracker. Eva sat down. The children huddled next to her. Kale ran the scanner over her neck, shoulders, chest. Nothing. Then he paused at her back. Got it, he said. Near your spine, small, deep. Can you remove it? Yes, he said. But it'll hurt. I felt worse. Kale nodded. He took out a thin blade and a tiny injector. He cleaned the area with a cloth, then gave her a shot to numb the pain. Eva gritted her teeth as he worked. Blood ran down her back. Ch! Her daughter cried softly. Then Kale held up a tiny black chip. Tracker's out, he said. He crushed it under his boot. Outside, ch! Footsteps echoed. They're here, Eva said. Kale grabbed his blaster. Stay with the kids. Lock that door. What about you? Kale didn't answer. He walked out into the dark hallway. Eva held her breath. A moment passed, then a scream, a blast of energy. Footsteps running. Another blast. Eva wanted to scream, but stayed silent. Then the door burst open. Kale stood there, hurt, bleeding. But alive. They ran, he said. One of them didn't. He dropped a strange weapon on the floor. This might help us. Eva looked at him, tired and scared. What now? Kale looked out the cracked window. If the stars had returned. Find a ship. We get off this moon, and we don't stop running. He paused until they're safe. Eva looked at her kids, then back at Kale. Thank you, she said. Kale shook his head. Don't thank me yet, because he knew this was only the beginning. Asterisk, the stars above them were free. But Eva was not. She stood in the corner of an old cargo ship, her face covered in sweat and dried blood. Her children lay asleep on a worn blanket, unaware that everything had just been stolen from them. Her hands trembled. It's not from fear, but from something new. Rage. Just hours ago, they escaped the bounty hunters. Just hours ago. Kale pulled the tracker out of her back and risked his life. They found a smuggler's port. They paid in silence. They got a new ship, but peace is never free. As Kale rechecked the navigation system, Eva came rushing in from the sleeping chamber. There. Gone, she said. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were wild. Kale turned slowly. What do you mean, the children? She whispered. Not there. Kale froze. In 1 second, everything changed. He jumped up and scanned the ship's systems. 1. Security camera offline. Back hatch opened 5 minutes ago? They took them, Eva said again. Someone took them while we slept. Kale clenched his fists. Or worse. Eva didn't wait for more. She grabbed a blaster from the wall. She had never held a gun before. but her hands didn't shake. "I'm going after them," she said. "You don't even know who. I don't care." Kale stepped closer. "You're hurt. Angry. That gets you killed." Eva looked straight into his eyes. "They took my children." Kale paused, then he nodded. "Then let's get them back." They traced the signal, a faint trail of heat signatures and stolen coordinates. The ship that took the kids had launched fast, sloppy. That was a clue. "Not professional," Kale muttered. "Desperate, maybe a deal gone wrong." They followed the trail to a floating rock field near a dead star. An old outpost hovered above broken metal, blinking lights. No laws. Kale landed quietly as they stepped off the ship. Eva scanned the crowd. Creatures from all over the galaxy moved through the dusty port. Some traded parts, others traded. People her heart burned. "Someone here has my children." A short alien with yellow eyes bumped into her. "Watch it, breeder," he hissed. Eva didn't blink. She grabbed him by the collar and slammed him against a wall. "Say that again," she growled. Kale pulled her back. "Not yet." They searched quietly, moving through the shadows, asking no questions, just listening. Then they heard it too. Two bounty hunters arguing near a fuel station. She said, "No kids." "Well, we already delivered them." "It's not going to pay full if they cry like that." Eva's heart stopped. Kale nodded toward the alley. They moved fast. In seconds, Kale had his weapon drawn. The hunters reached for theirs to slow. One shot. Two bodies dropped. Eva didn't even look at them. "Who did they deliver to?" she asked. Kale searched. "There comes." He showed her a name on the screen. Dr. Vexen Biolabs. Coordinates attached. Eva stared at the name. "I've heard of her," she said. "She buys hybrids for tests." Kale clenched his jaw. "We'll get in. We'll get them out." "No," Eva said. "I'll get them out." The lab was hidden in the clouds of a gas planet built on floating metal and guarded by drones. Kale guided the ship through a storm. "We've got one shot. In and out." Eva stared out the window. Her reflection looked different now. Not weak. Not afraid. She had nothing left to lose. As they landed, Kale gave her a weapon and a small EMP device. "This'll kill the power for 60 seconds. Use it wisely." Eva nodded. No words, just fire in her eyes. They moved fast. Inside the lab, white walls and cold lights. No alarms yet. Eva turned a corner. There, a glass chamber. Her children sat inside, scared but unharmed. Tubes ran along the walls. Machines beeped softly. A tall alien woman in a white coat stood over them, typing Dr. Vexen. Eva didn't wait. She kicked the door open. Vexen turned in shock. "You're not supposed to be here," Eva fired. The glass chamber exploded. Her children ran into her arms. "I'm here now," she whispered. Behind her, alarms screamed. Kale yelled from the hallway. "Time's up. Move." They ran. Guards poured in. Shots fired. Eva didn't stop. She carried her son. Her daughter ran beside her. Kale covered their backs, turning fire. A blast shook the hallway. They reached the ship. Inside, doors sealed. Engines roared. They escaped. Back in space, Eva held her children close. Kale sat across from her, blood on. His arm breathing hard, Eva looked at him. "You said anger gets you killed." Kale smiled weakly. "Sometimes, it gets your kids back too." Hope is a strange thing. It can give you strength, or break you completely. Eva sat beside her children in the quiet corner of the ship, her arms wrapped tightly around them. They were safe now, alive, warm, breathing. That should have been enough. But a WASN's single quotes can Kale limped into the cockpit, blood soaking through the bandage on his side. He didn't complain. He never did. Eva looked at him. "You're hurt. I've been worse," he said. "You need help." "So do they." Pointed to the children. They were resting now, but something had changed. They didn't speak much since the rescue. They avoided looking at the stars through the ship's glass, like they knew the galaxy wasn't a place for kids anymore. "They were tested," Eva said, her voice cracked. "Poked, scanned, recorded like animals. Kale sat down slowly. We'll find someone. Someone who can undo what was done. Where? He pulled up a map. Dozens of red zones. Every major system is controlled, but there's one place left. He zoomed in on a small moon. Sorry. FIV no law. No slaves, just rebels, farmers, and a few ghosts. Eva narrowed her eyes. Someone who can help them? Kale nodded. A doctor. Old friend. She helped save me once. Might do it again. They landed in the early hours of Soria's long night. The moon was cold, blue, and quiet. Trees with glowing leaves moved gently. In the wind, it almost felt like peace. Kale led them to a small house near the cliffs down inside. A woman with silver hair and cybernetic eyes stood by a fire. She looked at Kale and smiled. You're late, Kale nodded. Been busy? The woman looked at Eva and the children. Her smile faded. These kids, they're hybrid. Eva stepped in front of them. They're mine. The woman raised her hand gently. I'm not here to take them. I'm here to check if they're all right. She scanned them carefully. Memories damaged. Nervous system stressed. But not broken. I can help. Eva exhaled slowly, relief for once. The doctor gave the kids a mild sedative and placed a small memory restorer behind their ears. They may remember things slowly, she warned, but it'll return. The pain and the good.
Night.
Eva stood outside the house, staring at the stars. Kale walked beside her. You did it, he said. No, she whispered. Not yet. Kale looked at her. She turned to him. They need more than freedom. They need a future. Kale nodded. There's a price for that. What is it? He didn't answer with words. Instead, he tapped a message alert on his wrist device. A bounty had been placed not just on the children now, but on Eva too. Her face. Her name. She was no longer just property. She was a threat. Eva's hands curled into fists. I'm tired of running. Kale looked out at the hills. Then maybe it's time to fight. The next day, the doctor told them the worst part. The kids were sold through a high-level route. There's a chain, a network. If you broke one lab, another will come. The system runs deep. Kale sat back. We need to break the chain, not just break it, Eva said. Burn it. Kale looked at her. This wasn't the scared girl from the auction anymore. This was someone who had walked through fire and come out holding the flames. They found coordinates on the bounty hunter's gear. A private buyer, listed only as the Whisper. No face, no real name. Just credit trails and missing people. Kale loaded weapons. Eva suited up. Armor too big, but she made it fit. Before they left, the doctor looked at Kale. You know what happens if you go after them? I do. You'll be hunted forever. Kale looked at Eva and the kids. Then we'll keep running. Together. As their ship rose from the moon, Eva held her children close again. She didn't cry anymore. Not for the past. Not for the pain this time. She looked forward. To war. To danger. To freedom. Because now, hope wasn't just something soft and distant now. Hope had a price. And she was ready to pay it. Asterix memories are strange. They don't just live in the mind. They live in the body. In scars. And smells. In tiny moments. And sometimes, they forget how to come home. The ship moved silently through. Deep space, inside, Eva watched her children sleep. Their faces were peaceful. But it wasn't real peace. It was the kind that came after fear. Like silence after an explosion, they didn't call her mama anymore. Not since the lab. Not since. They were taken. They looked at her like she was a stranger. Polite. Quiet. Distant. And that broke her more than anything else. Kale stood at the control panel, watching the stars blur past. We're close, he said. To what? Eva asked softly. To the one who paid to erase them. Their destination, Varel Station, a floating black market built inside an asteroid ring. No laws, no light, no mercy. Eva and Kale entered under false IDs. Their ship's name was masked. But inside, the truth was everywhere. Cages, trade halls, genetic labs. And buyers with cold eyes, they weren't looking to buy anything. They were looking to steal. Something back her children's minds, in the lower level of the station, they found it. A memory archive. A sealed room lined with glowing cubes, each. One holding the thoughts, feelings, and souls of people who had been altered, broken, erased. Kale cracked the system. Eva scanned the rows until she found the code the doctor had recovered earlier, her son's memory. Then she pulled out the cube inside. It was a flickering image of her holding him when he was a baby. Singing a lullaby on Earth? The boy laughing under sunlight he would never see again. Tears filled her eyes. They took this from him. Kale found another cube. Her daughter's. Same thing. Joy, warmth, motherly love, all locked away. Like old files, we put them back, Kale said. But how? We pointed to a terminal. Plug in the cubes. Use the pulse sync. Yeah, their brains still remember how to feel. We just have to remind them. Back on the ship, Eva sat with her. Children, Kale helped connect the device. Will it hurt? She asked. No, he said, but it might change everything. She nodded. The machine blinked. The sync began. The boy stirred. The girl twitched. Then silence. A second passed. Then two. Then a voice. Mama. Eva gasped. Her daughter blinked slowly, then leaned forward, touching Eva's face. You came. Back, Eva wrapped her arms around her, crying. I never left, she whispered. Her son smiled faintly. You smell like Earth. Kale looked away, giving them the moment, but peace, as always, did not last long. The ship's alarm screamed. Kale rushed to the controls. They tracked the cube signal, he said. Someone knows we took the memories back. Who? Eva asked. Kale turned the screen. A face appeared. Dark hood, metal implants, silver eyes. The whisper. The one who had bought the children. The one who ordered their minds erased. Return the assets, the voice said through static. Or I will. Take them again. And this time, I'll erase you too. Kale shut the screen off. We have to disappear. Eva shook her head. No, I'm done disappearing. She looked at her children, finally smiling, finally holding her hand again. I will never let anyone take them again. Not while I breathe. Kale nodded. Then we fight. As they prepared the ship for battle, Kale handed her a memory chip, small, black, sealed tight. What's this? Mine, he said. My past. I locked it away after the war. Why? Kale paused. Because some memories hurt too much. But maybe. It's time I remember too. Eva smiled, her heart full of rage and love all at once. They took everything. From us, she said. Now we take it back. Kale armed the weapons. The stars ahead began to fade, and from the darkness, warships arrived. Eva kissed her children's heads, and for the first time in forever, they kissed her back. Because now, their hearts remembered. The stars were no longer beautiful. They were war zones now, glowing silence hiding weapons. Ships and death behind every shadow. Kale sat in the pilot's seat, hands steady, face unreadable. Eva stood behind him, watching as the enemy ships moved closer. The Whisper's fleet had found them. 10 warships. No warning, no mercy. This is it, she said quietly. Kale nodded. This is where we make our stand. Eva looked back at her children, now awake, alert, their memories returned. They held hands, their eyes full of fear, but also trust. We can't outrun them? She asked. Kale checked the engine status. Too slow, not with 4 on board. She touched his shoulder. Then we fight. Kale didn't look at her. He was staring at the emergency pod. A small, round escape ship, only big enough for 3. Eva followed his eyes. No, she said. He still didn't look at her. They'll chase me, not you. You're not doing this. I already did, Kale said softly. The second I walked into that auction hall. Outside, the Whisper's voice came through the radio. You have something that belongs to me? Kale replied, calm and cold. They were never yours. Then I will erase you, the voice said. Kale cut the signal. He turned to Eva. There's a beacon in the pod. They'll take you to the Soria rebels. Tell them who you are. Tell them what you've seen. Eva shook her head. We do this together. Kale finally turned to her and smiled. Together means you get to live. The enemy ships charged weapons. Kale powered up the main cannon. I'll give you 90 seconds, he said. Eva stepped forward. Kale, please. He looked at her, not like a soldier, not like a savior, but like a man who had found something worth dying for. I never had a family, he said. War took that from me. But you gave it back. Oh. She tried to speak. She couldn't. He leaned in and whispered something only she could hear. Then he hit the emergency pod release. Inside the pod, Eva screamed, "No, Kale." The pod fired. Sealed shut. Launched away from the ship. Her children held on to her. They didn't understand. But she did. Kale turned back to the controls. Outside, the enemy ships were closing in. He armed the core reactor. A message played across the comms. Core overload in 0:45 seconds. The Whisper's ship fired first. Kale dodged, returned fire. He didn't aim to win, just to stall, to buy them seconds, to buy them freedom. The escape pod flew through the stars. Tss. Inside, Eva watched through the window, tears falling silently. Then, a white flash. Her ship, Kale, gone in light. Her hands pressed to the glass. And in that moment, her son asked quietly, "Where's Kale?" Eva wiped her eyes and smiled through the pain. He stayed behind, to make sure no one would ever take you again. Weeks passed. Eva and her children reached the Soria rebel camp. She told them everything about the auctions, the labs, the whisper about Kale. Some believed her. Some didn't. But she didn't stop telling the story. Not because she needed them to believe, but because Kale deserved to be remembered. Months later, the children ran freely under open skies. The girl drew stars with her finger in the dirt. The boy fixed old wires for fun. And Eva, she sat near the hill every evening, watching the sky. One day, a small ship landed in the valley. Its door opened. A man stepped out, wounded, limping burnt across his shoulder. Eva stood slowly, her heart racing. The man removed his helmet. It was Kale. She ran to him. "You how?" He smiled. "You think I'd leave and miss all the trouble you're about to start?" That night, under the stars, Eva sat beside him, with the children asleep between them. "Why did you come back?" she asked. Kale looked at her, then at the kids, then at the stars. "I didn't come back," he said. "I came home." Asterisk they painted. Her body with auction numbers to sell her. But he chose to love her, and raise her children as his own. In a galaxy of monsters, he chose to be a man,